Welcome to Easter Seals University. My name is Tiffany Blackstone, and I'm here today to talk to you about TimeCo, specifically how it's used by non-exempt clock punch employees such as yourself. So let's start with how your work hours will be recorded in TimeCo. As a clock punch employee, you will be punching in and out using a fingerprint scanner like this one. These are located in your center. You will be punching in and out for the day, out for lunch, back in from lunch, and then out for the day. To punch in and out, you will first enter your employee number on the keypad here. Then you will press OK after you've entered your employee number, and then place your finger on the fingerprint reader. So once you've done that, you've actually punched in your time. Pretty simple, right? So now, in order to submit your time at the end of the pay period, you will need to log in to the TimeCo website. So to do that, you will begin by opening up your internet browser. And for those of you who actually work on the Easter Seals server, you'll need to make sure that you do this off the Easter Seals server. You'll type in TimeCo.com into the address bar, and we'll do that in just a moment. First, let's talk about your login name and password. Your login name will be the first initial of your first name, and then your entire last name with no spaces. The @ symbol, then capital C, capital A, 485, which is our company code. So for my username, mine is T Blackstone at CA485. That's what it looks like. Your initial password is your date of birth. The date of birth actually uses no leading zeros in the month or the day fields, and it has the entire 4-digit year. And this also includes the slashes. So for example, if my birth date was April 7th of 1965, I would enter this, 4/7/1965. For security purposes, you will be required to change your password the first time you log in. You want to make sure that you do this so that nobody else is able to log in as you in case they happen to know your date of birth. So now let's take a look at how to log into the system so that you can view and submit your time cards and enter leave requests. So let's go to the internet browser, and then we'll type up in the address bar here, TimeCo.com. This brings us to the TimeCo homepage. What you'll want to do when you get here is come over here to the right-hand side, and you'll see this little key with the employee login, and you'll click on that. This brings up the employee workplace login page, and this is where you will actually log in. Now remember what I said about changing your password. You'll click on change your password. It's going to ask you for your username, which is the first initial of your first name, your entire last name, the @ symbol, and then capital C, capital A, 485. Then you'll enter in your old password, which is your date of birth, including the slashes, and then your new password, which is going to be something that you can remember. You know, whichever password you typically use, or something that you're going to remember. It'll ask you also to confirm that password. Now what I recommend is that when you make a password, you go ahead and write it down, making sure that you keep this locked up so that you can refer back to it in case you forget it. So I'm going to log in as a clock punch employee. Click on login. When you log in, you probably will see a bar pop up that either asks you, would you like to store your password for TimeCo.com, or it will ask you if you like to remember your password. Please make sure that you always click no or not for this site. You never want to have the system try to remember your password. So when we log into TimeCo, what we have to the left-hand side here is a menu of the different areas in TimeCo that you have access to. The first one is Time Card, and then you have Leave Requests and Log Out. Under Time Card, you have My Time Card and Exception History. When you first log in, it will bring you automatically to your time card. Within that, you have two tabs, the My Time Card tab and the My Schedule tab. We are not currently utilizing the My Schedule tab, but we may in the future. This is where if your supervisor enters your schedule, it will be housed so you can refer back to it. So for this training, we just want to go through the My Time Card. On here, you can see the actual pay period. So we're in the current pay period, and then your department. On here it says to add a punch. You're not able to add a punch here. That can only be done by your supervisor. When you're looking through your time, what it does show you is your in and out punches for the day, and it'll also show you a daily total of hours and a period total of hours. So it keeps a running total during that pay period for you. So for example, on Tuesday here, the 14th, this person clocked in at 8:05 a.m., and then they took their lunch from 12 to 12:30. And then they left at 4 p.m. So they have 7.5 hours for the day, 7.5 hours for the period. Now there is a problem on this timesheet. On Monday, it appears that this person forgot to clock out. And so therefore it's come up with, under out here, missing. So whenever you see this, there is a missing punch. You need to make sure that when you have this, you get with your supervisor immediately so that they can add that punch for you. Also, if you're looking through your time and for some reason one of these punches is wrong, you'll need to also get with your supervisor so that they can immediately correct that punch for you. Also listed on the time card is any leave request information that you put in. So it appears that this person put in for Wednesday the 15th to have 4 hours of vacation time. So you see that listed here. Down at the bottom, it shows you a summary by department. So this is your home department worked, and this is this person's home department worked, and they have regular hours of 7.5 and vacation hours of 4 hours. Now you'll see that it's not recording in the regular hours the information for that missing punch because it doesn't know how many hours that person worked on this day to be able to add it in. So again, very important that you get with your supervisor to get that updated. And then again, down at the bottom, it also shows a category total. So it could be regular, it could be vacation, it could be sick, it could be overtime. Those different categories will be listed down here. To approve your time card previously in AsureForce, what you did was you marked a box next to employee approval. It's very similar in this, except that you'll actually click on Submit Time Card. So let's go back to the previous pay period, and we'll click on Submit Time Card. And here a box pops up when you click on that that says, by submitting my time card, I agree that my hours are correct. So in that case, you would click on OK, and then once you do that, your time card will be submitted to your supervisor for their review and approval. So again, this is your view of your time card. You want to make sure you correct any missing punches or any errors in your time, and then make sure that you submit it at the end of the pay period. Now, exception history to the left here, this is another way of viewing things that are going to be on your time card. So, for example, the missed punch that was on Monday, that's showing up here as an exception. So anything out of the norm is going to show up on this calendar here. Also, that vacation request that's on the time card for 4 hours for Wednesday, that also shows up on here. I'm moving on to leave request. When I clicked on leave request, you'll notice that the screen didn't actually change. It won't actually change until you actually click on view add requests. When you go in here, the first thing you'll see at the top is your available hours per pay period. If you click on the calendar to the right of any of these, it'll bring up a box and it'll show the history. So the person had 5.78 hours as of 9/29, the end of that pay period. And then for this pay period, they had a 4-hour request. So what this does is it keeps a running tally of your current time and any requests that you have, so your future leave requests. Down at the bottom, you'll see your current request, and it'll show the status of those requests, whether approved, whether it's just been submitted, or whether it's been denied. That'll all show here. If you want to cancel a request, all you do is click on the box next to it, and it'll bring up a check mark, and then down at the bottom here, you'll click on Cancel Request. But let's submit a new request. So click on the box, New Request, and that'll bring up another screen. Again, it shows you the available hours that you have for that pay period. And it currently says 1 day, so let's go ahead and delete that out. And then click on the calendar button to the right of that. And what it does is it brings up a calendar screen for you. You can flip back and forth between the months here, so you can click on to the next month or to the next year. So say I want to take October 27th off. I'm going to click on the 27th, and you'll see to what it did is just put a 1 day right here, and then click on Close. So it just brought up Monday the 27th. You need to enter in the number of hours that you're requesting that day. So I'm a full-time employee, and my schedule is 7.5 hours a day, so I put 7.5 there. If you wanted to, say, take the entire week off, instead you would go back in here, and then you would press down your control key on your keyboard, which is the CTRL key on the keyboard, and click on the rest of the dates that you wanted to request off. So say she wanted to take the week off. Again, click on Close after you've done that, and you'll have to re-enter the number of days here that you want to request off. Now this system does not actually skip holidays, so you'll need to make sure that when you're putting in your leave request, either don't include that date or you go back in and remove that date. So let's go back in here and click on the calendar, and although October 31st really isn't a holiday, we're just going to say it is for this purpose. We're going to click on October 31st so that it comes off. Again, click on Close. And although you had your hours entered in here for each day that you wanted to request off, you will need to enter those back in again. Okay. Underneath your request, there is the department. This is going to show your home department that you work in. Beneath that is the category that you're requesting off. So for this person, I want to take vacation off for this time period. There is a comments box that you can put comments in to send to your supervisor regarding this request. You know, please approve this request, or I want to take a cruise. So you can put that in there. You're not required to use that for this purpose. The only times you are required to actually put comments in are in the case of FMLA, the Family and Medical Leave Act, workers' compensation, or low census. So here I'm going to put in sick time, or actually I'm going to put in sick time because I'm going to be out on FMLA, so I would put in here FMLA. It's important that you do this so that when your supervisor and HR are taking a look at your time usage to monitor your time off, they don't include these dates, so that these are not counted against you in your absences. Same thing for workers' comp. You'll enter that in. If you're not utilizing time, if you accrued time for workers' compensation, you'll just put that in as unpaid hours, as you're not required to use your sick or vacation time for workers' compensation. And again, you'll want to make sure that you do the same thing for low C, so low census. You are not required to use your vacation time or your personal time when you have a client census that's low and where you're being sent home for the day. You're not required to use that time unless you want to use that time. So again, for a vacation, I'm not going to really put a comment in there. For this purpose, I will. It's a test, so I'm putting in here disregard emails. When I send this, it's going to actually send an email to the supervisor so that they can log in and actually review this request and approve it or deny it. So submit request. And what it does is it comes back here to the current request grid, and it shows that those are submitted. So now this is going to the supervisor to be reviewed and approved or denied, and this will change depending on whether they approve it or deny it. Again, if you want to cancel it, just click on the days that you want to cancel and click Cancel Request. So moving on, the next area is Log Out. When you're exiting the system, I do ask that you click on Log Out to leave the system rather than using the X at the top to close it. You want to make sure that you click on Log Out so that you are fully logged out from the system. Okay. Now I want to show you a tool that we have on the corporate library. That you can use. It goes over everything that we actually just reviewed. So you'll go to the corporate library, computer information, software, and then TimeCo. And here's the TimeCo tool for clock punch employees. So again, it goes over where everything we just went over in this training. I want to say thank you for joining me on this review of TimeCo for the clock punch employee. And don't forget, if you're a new employee, please be sure to record today's date on your new hire training checklist as the date you completed this training. I hope you have a great day.